because yesterday, she was on after us anyway. Like Mary Kay was on after us anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. Like this would have been my first reaction to it. Like the conversation that's going around. See, I'm in a weird spot where if you wanted to trade away Myles, one, the cap hit is very, 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 very big. And when you add that cap hit on top of the other quarterback that nobody wants to play, and that Lima ever mentions talking about playing as if he's a ghost story, you're just not going to have a competitive football team at all next year. But I do think a lot of people are going, yeah, we're probably not going to be that competitive anyway, Ken, so let's just go ahead and make the move. Like, that's kind of where we're at right now. And then I heard, I gotta hear this. So Mary Kay, she was on middays yesterday. Cabot too. Mary Kay was on middays yesterday. I gotta hear this. Where it was Dan and Jeff, because Basket was in with Daryl for us. And she had talked about Myles being frustrated and had this to say.
Myles is very, very, very frustrated. And he's having arguably the best season of his career. And so he's long talked about wanting to win championships and go to the playoffs and all of those things. And here he is, stuck on a team that appears to be going nowhere this season, and that's tough for him to take. I think in the offseason, he's going to have some assurances that things are going to be different and why they're going to be different and how they're going to be different. I haven't looked at the economics of it, but I don't even know if it's possible or feasible to trade him after paying him all the guaranteed money that they already have. But I do think that he will want some acknowledgement that something's got to give for next season and that there's going to be some victories coming, or he's going to want, I don't know if he would ever ask to be traded again or whatever, but he's not going to be able to continue on like this and maintain his sanity.
Well, being asked to be traded, see, that there's so much to unpack out of that 1 40-second snippet, because you can ask all you want. If it's not feasible, it's not feasible. There's nothing they can do. I mean, the money, the guarantees, everything, if it's not possible, there's not very much you can do. Now, I will profess to that I don't know everything when it comes to his contract, but and we'll have Zach on at 9, but everybody I've talked to is like, I mean, you can trade anybody. It's just extremely prohibitive to even being able to field a 53-man roster, let alone having a competitive one. It's prohibitive. It's going to be hard to put 53 guys out there because you have so much money wrapped up in guys that you don't want to play. Like Deshaun's more than likely done after this year, and we'll move on from him, June 1st or probably before, but it'll be post June 1st. You get what I'm saying? And then if you were to move on from Myles, it's like, hey, I'd love to have 2 more first-round picks. That's fine. I just don't know if it's fully possible yet. I'll get to the Breer coming up in a bit. However, I got more questions than answers, because if he needs to hear assurances, well, didn't he hear assurances before? So what was the assurances that he got? Like, he smiled wryly about the quarterback plan. What was does he feel like he's been led astray by the quarterback plan?
I don't know. I always assumed that he was just kind of doing the PR, doing the positive PR.
Okay.
Like I never thought the Browns said they had some feather in their cap.
Okay,
because they couldn't have. How could they have?
You very well could have. You know what? I'm getting paid a lot of money. I'm staying here. I'm going to be a good guy about all this. And we got a plan. All right. Well, if this is your plan, if this was a plan you liked, then buddy, I don't know what to tell you. But there's also he needs assurances. Like, well, what else is he going to do? Could he retire? Could he pull? It's been 9 years, right? He's at the peak of his powers. Could he do a Calvin Johnson or a Barry Sanders? Could he do something like that? That's the only other recourse that he has. And I don't know why you'd leave all that money on the table.
For a guy that wanted to go back in the game at the end of the game to, go get some more sacks, I imagine he's not thinking of, cutting that off and just walking away.
So what are the assurances that he? Because I don't know. Do you need to just know that they're going to take a quarterback in this draft? Is it a quarterback that you're going to like? Do you need to be in on the meetings about the quarterback with whoever is the head coach and the general manager next year? I have way more questions to ask Mary Kay, and it's already to the point I can't wait till tomorrow, 8:20 tomorrow. I got to ask her. I need more clarification on the assurances. What are the assurances that he needs? I would love some assurances, too. I would love to get out of this tailspin that we're in and we've been in basically that's unending since 2022, with the exception of one glorious little run there that we had. Other than that, like, I would love some assurances, and I think that I can wish in one hand and you know what in the other. What are the assurances here?
I don't think they're
okay. So you don't know and I don't know. Like, I'm asking for answers that you don't have. I'm not attacking you. I just need to know if you have a thought to any of this. Is like, what? Like, is there anybody out there that doesn't want to trade Myles Garrett right now at 2-5? 2-6. Is there anybody out there who doesn't want to trade Myles?
I think there are a lot of people that don't want to trade him. He's the best player on the team.
He is the best player on the team. But what are we going to do?
Yeah,
like I think if you could make a move, you can want to all you want. Whether or not it's realistic, that's another thing. Like, this is the only way out. I think is through, and the only way through is to go get draft picks. So, are there a lot of people who are fans that don't want to trade just because they want to? I mean, maybe they bought his jersey and they want to keep it. I know he's a great player, and I know he's the face of the franchise in so many ways. And I think he is a pretty good guy, but we're 2-6. If there is a way that it can be done, well, I guess I would explore those options.
I was getting yesterday when I was tweeting about some of the stuff I was hearing, because I've never heard, in the offseason, it wasn't like this. It wasn't every national guy that, and we're not just talking football guy. We're also talking like analytics guys and people who understand the cap. They're all just like, no, they've got to damn the torpedoes. They have to trade him now because this is going to only get worse. They don't think the Browns are going to be good next year. I was seeing, and I heard Albert Breer yesterday. I mean, he made an interesting point that, like, even if the Browns got their really good quarterback this year, next year, or this year's draft, I should say, he's still not on the Myles Garrett timeline, really. Like, because it's really like, if you think, okay, in year 2, they take off like Drake May, but what if it's really not that? What if it's year 3, which is more logical? Now Myles is 33, 34. Like, that's not meshing with his timeline.
Exactly. So you and I discussed that last year, or I should say in the offseason. It wasn't last year, it was this calendar year. But you and I discussed that in the offseason when he wanted to trade, going, well, okay, if you sign him, his prime does not match up with the quarterback's prime. So you're really not going to see your best football there. Guys, it would suck. It sucks to have this conversation about trading away the best player you've ever had in the franchise's history defensively. Arguably, I mean, he's top 3, top 4 in terms of all over talent, players, everything. I mean, he's that good. But also, I know that my return on him can be huge. Now, I don't know if I trust the people making the picks after I get the return on him, but I don't know what the pushback would be anymore. It stares us right in the face. The pushback during the offseason was, my God, you got, again, this albatross of a quarterback, not my words, Troy Aikman's words. You have this albatross that's hanging around. You can't really do a whole lot with everything else. But if you really, really wanted to, it's like, all right, the issue that I would have with it at all, and it's not really a reason to not move them. Okay, there's more pressure to hit on the picks that you get because you can't go out and spend in free agency to help out your young quarterback that you are destined to get. It might buy some time. It may do it because if you're looking at 2026 and 2027, maybe there's 2027 in there. It may buy some time where you don't necessarily have to force the quarterback conversation, but I think we're going to be having the same conversation about quarterbacks.
Free agency is never how you buy your way out of this. It's always got to be the draft. The draft is the only way for the Browns to turn the page on a black era of football and take it to the next frontier.
Absolutely, 100% correct. Totally agree with you. Because my issue would be, all right, you go and you get your quarterback for this year, but then I got to protect the guy. And right now, my offensive line, I don't know who's coming back next year. Luke Whippler, right? So he'll probably, you could probably pencil him in as a starter for next year. Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio are up in the air. Joel Bitonio is probably going to retire after that's all done. DeJuan Jones, poor kid, can't stay healthy. My left tackle's enough. I don't know what would be a left tackle. And I could say, well, you could use free agency to supplement that. But what do I always say? Like, offensive linemen are usually free agents for a reason. And so you can't go getting excited about guys who end up being, if a guy wants to force a trade, Okay, you can do that. Like there was a guy that you and I were famously wrong about, Trent Williams. If he wanted to force a trade, a guy like that, fine, go ahead and do that. You can use your picks to trade for a veteran like that if they wanted to be forced out of their situation that they're in. I don't know if Cleveland's the situation they want to sign up for, so you have to consider that as well.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of things here which it's like it's going to put so much pressure to not just like what you've done here. If this ends, I'll say this real quick. Guys, if this ends up being this great of a draft class, we have to understand that it's not normal to have this great of a draft class. To have 5 guys, 2 of them really, really good, but to have 5 guys that are really big-time contributors in one draft class, that's pretty hard to do. And I'll give them credit for that, but it seems to be too little too late, and how much trust do I have with you in the future?
I know that the obvious refrain is, well, they traded Baker, they went and got Deshaun, and now you're trading away Myles. That would be the darkest era of any general manager in the history of most towns.
Yeah.
Like that especially the way Baker has played this year, even if he's come back to the pack a little bit. Like, yes, that would be really hard for fans to stomach. But at the same time, I would ask, like, are you guys enjoying, and be honest, are you guys enjoying the Myles Garrett experience right now? How much are you enjoying it? He had 5 sacks, could have been like 7. That's one of the great pass rusher games I've seen ever in my life. And how much did you get out of it? How much did you enjoy that game Sunday? How much were you cheering and going nuts? Or was it kind of apathetic? Was it, I'm going to go outside, it's nice out in the third quarter? Like, you can't deny that this isn't going swimmingly well. It's not been awesome having Myles. Not necessarily because of him. Because I think he's been kind of muted. It's not like he's been that annoying. It's not about Myles. It's just the Browns in general. It's like an NBA team where a guy's averaging 30 points a game, but it's on a team that's going to win 17. Like, are you having that much fun watching it?
People really like Colin Sexton.
Yes, true.
I'm sorry.
They did.
I'm sorry. I think you just crystallized it. Are people enjoying the Myles Garrett experience right now? 216-474-0092. I mean, that's...
He could make it more miserable. He hasn't. He's actually been pretty even keel. Okay,
yeah.
He threw a helmet. Well, that's his signature movie.
Well,
he throws helmets.
That was last year. Oh, you talking about... I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, big deal. He was emotional and sat by himself and pouted in the corner. Who cares? That's not really that bad to me. That's a player who's really upset that he's dominating and his team's getting blown out. That's how I expect most NFL players to act.
216-474-0092. I think if they read, are you enjoying the Myles Garrett experience?
Yeah.
See, we got to be careful about this.
Yeah, they're going to think it's on.
They're going to think it's anti-Myles.
And that's not what I'm saying at all. I just mean,
yeah.
At the end, were you truly enjoying, and it's tough because offensive lineman, but the Joe Thomas experience at the end. And they had a chance to get 1 first-round pick for him. They declined. He gets to retire and remain a Brown his whole career. That's awesome. But we never got that first-round pick. Are you going to allow that to happen even on a grander scale this time? Are we going to sit here 4 years from now with Myles Garrett on no more playoff teams and then say, we could have had 2 firsts and we just didn't? Because why? Like, you asked the GMs to go understand value and think about that and get the biggest returns when it makes sense. And when you've got a guy that's in his 30s and at some point Myles will go on the way down, doesn't look like that's anywhere close to happening. But you always say that about guys. You know, people said it with J.J. Watt, and then all of a sudden it just ends. Like, this stuff, the end comes quicker than you always think it's going to be. So right now, he looks like he could do this for another 7 years. Odds are in 4 years we'll be like, oh, well, that was quick. And we didn't get first-round picks for him.
216-474-0092. Again, it's not anti-Myles, but the question is, are you enjoying the experience? I don't think Myles is enjoying the experience. How could he be? And I honestly, I can sell you on a... Go ahead.
I'll give you... Well, I know we got to go. I'll give you a crazy comparison that I wonder what's going through Myles' mind when he's watching something else that's happening right now in sports.
It's not anti-Myles when you ask this question. I think people are going to read it, and they're going to take it that way. So we got to be careful how we frame these things on the internet here, because You may not care. I would care. I don't want you to be misinterpreted. You asked, are we enjoying the Myles Garrett experience? I don't know anybody who is. Because mostly they just either they take it the wrong way with Myles, or they're like, well, you signed up for this. This is what you get, which you did. You signed up for it. You knew what you got. I don't want to. I'm glad he's taking things personally instead of just not caring. So that's maybe a difference. But when people say, I hate that the take that he signed up for, well, yeah, it's not. But I'm not mad at him for it. You did sign up for it. And at first, you thought, well, I don't want to. No. I do want to hear what he says, because he has no reason to lie. He has no reason to hold back any emotions. He has no reason to filter anything anymore. Because if he's here forever, and if that's what the contract basically would state, because it is still, I know that there's some people here at the Fan kind of bickering back and forth on what the numbers are and things like that. Guys, all I know is, and we'll have Zach on at 9 o'clock. Like, you check with Jack Duffin, it's a prohibitive contract to move. So it would set you up for, this is going to be very, very rough again. Which, again, you were 3-14 last year. We've gone through 0-16 before. How much rougher could it be? So it sets up to be very, very rough again. That's what the contract is. No matter how you slice it, no matter what picks you get back, that's the way it would go.
And by the way, with or without Myles, next year, they're going to go into the season with an over-under total of what? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
So you're expected to be bad again for the third straight year. You're expected to be one of the worst teams in football.
And you had a comparison right before the break that you saved right before the break. What was it?
And it was just so obvious. I
think I know where you're going, because I think a lot of people have done it, but go ahead and say it.
Well, it's can you imagine what somebody like Myles, who clearly is one of the best players in football, and we used to say, well, the quarterbacks are 1 through like 15, but now how many good quarterbacks are there that you could even put on that level? Now it's like, how many quarterbacks would you truly take over Myles? Is there like 5? It feels like a crazy low number, because Myles has taken his game to another level, and a bunch of quarterbacks have kind of plateaued. Like 3 years ago, I would have said, C.J. Stroud for sure. Now, would you? Are you positive? Maybe just because he is a quarterback, but there's no doubt who's a better football player. It's Myles, and so there's so few of them that I'm just paying attention. Not as locked in as some to the World Series. But Shohei Ohtani had never been in a playoff game until last year, right? Last year with the Dodgers was his first year. So he had 6 years before that, and he had no playoffs. And so everyone's like, yeah, he's really good, but when it matters the most, who are the best players in baseball? In football, we always know, the best players shine, come postseason. Myles has played 3 playoff games. And when's his next one? When is Myles Garrett's next playoff game?
At this rate, I don't know if he ever gets one.
Holy cow. So can you imagine not seeing Myles on a Super Bowl run? Because if Chris Jones can do what he does, or, Von Miller over the years, or Dwight Freeney, can you imagine how mythical we would talk about Myles Garrett if 4 straight years he was on a potential Super Bowl run? He would wreck those games. A Super Bowl plan would be concocted with solely Myles Garrett, right? With only him in focus.
Yes. Well, you can. I'm not guaranteeing he's played his last playoff game, even if he plays for the Browns, because you can always get the hot hand and find the quarterback. And I mean, you've seen. I know Washington's on some hard times right now. Jaden Daniels is hurt, and it's kind of put the warts back on that organization again for a lot of folks, but. I mean, they made a run to an NFC Championship game last year. So, yeah, you can get the hot hand and see what comes of it. But you got to get extremely lucky at that position. And when have we been extremely lucky at that position? Even when we got lucky, it was an embittered, battled thing that really took a lot of energy out of a lot of fans. And I don't think his energy has been stolen. There's no reason to complain about Myles on the field. There's no reason. I'm not upset at his attitude. I'm not upset with Myles. I'm not upset. When we talk about trading guys, I think we look at it like personal relationships. Before you have a breakup, like some of you younger guys, before you have a breakup, there's always you try to talk yourself into it. Instead, you just want to be like, I'm bored, I'm young, kind of want to do. You look for things to be bothered by the other person by. And I think I think a lot of us are doing that with Myles. Yeah, there's been some games, and he's played 9 years. There's been some games he has not shown up. There have been some games he's been schemed around. So also, without a doubt, there's no way anybody could say it unless they're lying to themselves. He's the best player in the franchise's history on defense. They've been around for a very long time. And 46 to now is a long time. He's the best ever, and he's playing right now for your football team. That's very hard to move on from, except when you're 3-14 last year. You're 5-20 over your last 25 games, and it looks like it's going to be
Jackson numbers.
It looks like it's just not that far. It looks like it's going to be just as bad next year. It really does. Even if you do get a young guy, like, who's going to protect him? And so I could use those to find some protection. What am I going to do? So you're stuck against it. I could be if you can make the deal work. Like, I'm at this level right now. And I didn't think I would be 3 weeks ago. I didn't think I'd be
surprised.
I know.
I did not expect you when we started in the first segment to say, is there anybody who wouldn't try? I'm like, what? Ken?
If I'm going to be bad,
saying that about Myles Garrett, the best player in our lifetime by far?
I have to come to a realization here. It's tapped out. The Bamboo Lounge is about to get burned down and busted out, and that's it. And that's all you can do is light a match to the thing because you've set it up this way. So I got a quarter. Unless that quarterback comes back and he plays well, that's the only way I can feel out of this. Unless Shedeur Sanders comes in and plays well, because the guy that's playing right now, he ain't no hope. So those are and those things are. I mean, I hope for Shedeur. The other thing's more unrealistic than Shedeur in my eyes. But those are the only two things that could possibly get you out of this quagmire that you're in. And I don't know if there's enough time to prove either one of those things. So you would have to go back to the draft. You'd have to go back to the drawing board. And you'd have to try to reset yourself again as a franchise and try to do it right this time and learn from your mistakes that you made before. They had their, and I know we've made a lot of Super Bowl window jokes here. In let's be honest, Mary Kay said it 2.0, and we've had fun with her about it. She's been a good sport. Your Super Bowl window, quote unquote, for contention was a few years ago, and we freaked out. And we just, instead of trying to stay the course, you tried to rob Peter to pay Paul. Because you freaked out. Then that guy ended up being a complete bust for you, and now you're stuck in it. You've made it worse. You gambled, and you came up on the wrong end. And so the only way out of this is for this all to end and to reset everything. So at the end of this year, you will probably should move on from everybody who's in charge, and you probably should reset yourself for the draft. And that means you should probably say goodbye to Myles Garrett. And I know that the risks that come with that, because if he goes and he wins a Super Bowl with somebody else, is he ours? Is he our guy? Well, I don't know. That's a conversation for a different day. But I can only look out for the franchise right now. And if I'm looking at an over-under of 4.5 next year, more than likely, even if we do get the guy, what good is he doing me? What good is he doing me? It ain't going to be one. Does it mean any more? Does it mean any more tickets? Does it mean any more people coming to the stadium? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he means that much. I mean, they can put him on billboards. They can put him on the side of the building. Even in losses, he's going to go out there and get 5 sacks and play well. But I think a lot of people look at this as a business, and they're going to go, yeah, you know what? I don't trust any of you guys anyway, and I don't. So even if you did keep him, I don't know if you're going to put anything around him. And even if you did make the trade, I don't know what you're going to get. So I might as well have something to look forward to. See, I'll say this, and I promise, like, guys, I'm going to get to the calls here at 643, 216-474-0092. Are you enjoying the Myles Garrett experience? Because I'll tell you this, like, when you go forward here, I've went after people talking about tanking and wanting to tank, and I've said it doesn't work, and really the numbers will back you up. It doesn't. The good teams that try to compete tend to still be the good teams that are competitive. But I can't attack a person who wants to, quote unquote, tank, because I think all they're really trying to do is look for something in the future that's positive other than this. Because how could you look at this and not think negatively? So you have to try to think positively. So maybe I should lighten up on that rhetoric. Because it is, well, if I don't have that to look forward to, Ken, what on earth do I have to look forward to as a Browns fan? And you know what, guys? That's a very fair point. Because right now, this is some sad, depressing stuff. Talking about trading away the player of the generation and saying it's a good thing and it's going to help. Do you understand the toll of losing that has to take for that to come out of my mouth? I wouldn't have thought I was going to say that over the summer.